Coming up on this episode of the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up, we'll step back into the celebrations at Stoke City, we'll try and recreate a bit of the magic with a Brad Potts special lesson, and we're joined in the studio by Peter Ridsdale. All that and so much more on the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up. Yes, so it is a very warm welcome to here at Exton, and it's a happy Exton. And we're joined by, he doesn't need an introduction, but I will. He's Peter Ridsdale. I'm sure you've heard and seen lots of him. 10 years you've been here at North End. I'll ask you about that shortly, but we'll start off with it's a happy camp at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it's nice to be back in the camp after the last couple of weeks. Look, it's a great place to be. We're delighted we were able to acquire it 15 months ago. Some people have commented recently on whether or not it was a good move or a bad move, but they're top-class training facilities. We've got a manager that has rejuvenated everybody at Exton, not just the playing staff. And yeah, it's a great place to be.
It was a tough time for him to come into in terms of, I mean, it shut down for a couple of days as well, and everybody seems to have been definitely been affected by COVID. So what were the challenges in terms of trying to make sure that Ryan could settle in?
I'm not sure. He seems to have settled in from day one. I mean, he hasn't taken a lot of introducing to people. He's made sure that everybody sees him, knows him, is involved with everybody. Clearly the disruption to the fixture schedule and to being in here in one way wasn't ideal, but in another way it's given him more chance to have a look at the players on the training ground. And by the time we played his second game, which was obviously 3 or 4 weeks after he joined us in the first place, I think he probably had a better idea of what he wanted to do. So look, you just have to get on with whatever's thrown at you in life, but he has done that. And as you say, it is a happy camp because we're on the back of played 2-1-2, albeit there was a gap in between.
Al, I've got loads to ask you, not too much because I know you're a very busy man, but just now we'll go into one of the reasons why we're all happy at the moment, and that was Ryan Lowe's first away game at Stoke City and a memorable win.
Reese's making an early run into the front post. He's got there too ahead of Chester and has been forced wide with his touch, but Daniel Johnston still has it. He feeds it up towards Whiteman, who could hit it this time. He bends it into the corner and it's saved by the goalkeeper, and Davis manages to keep hold of it as well. And it's Earl who gives it to Johnson this time. Wilmot tries to close him down, just holds him up at least here as Johnson tries to feed Alan Brown. There might be a penalty there. The referee's playing the advantage, and it's Johnson trying to stand it up, and it's going to be a corner. Well, I thought for a split second there Jeremy Simpson was going to point to the spot as Alan Brown was caught just inside the penalty area. Whiteman curls it towards that far post with the heads arriving, and it was just wide. It's Vrancic who sends it in, and the header was Chester's, and it's loose inside the 6-yard box, but it's Andrew Hughes who can get it away. Wilmot now, who was busy in the first half, hits a pile driver! Oh, what a strike from Ben Wilmot! It is a quite unbelievable goal from a man who hasn't scored for Stoke before. Daniel Johnson here crossing, and he crosses it in towards Potts! That's a volley, and that's what Brad Potts can do. A sensational equaliser, and he goes straight into the away end to celebrate with the fans. Brad Potts with an unbelievable reply. And it's going to drop in the penalty area as North End tried to clear it away. Stoke have kept people forward here. It's Doherty from a tight angle. Good save from Daniel Everson. He didn't have long to react to it, but he was able to keep it out. Whiteman just gazing into the box to see what's going on. Drills it out towards the far post, and it is a header that finds its way in, and the goal has arrived from Andrew Hughes, and North End have turned it around. and from the corner Hughes scores, and it looks like it could be 2 wins from 2 for the new manager Ryan Lowe. The sellout away crowd go mad again, and it's Andrew Hughes who is taking all the plaudits.
Fantastic reaction really from going a goal down. Fantastic attitude to get back in the game. Thought when you go a goal down from an unbelievable strike like that, you know, 2 keepers wouldn't have saved that. But the reaction of the boys afterwards to keep going, keep playing, and to score a fantastic goal from, you know, Seth to Ben, and then from Ben to wing back, and wing back slides DJ, and then your opposite wing back gets in the box to score a goal. Fantastic volley. So really pleased.
Absolutely delighted for it to go in. I think the celebration shows me every emotion gone really, frustration, just absolutely over the moon to score. I mean, like, frustration over the past however long. But yeah, I'm just absolutely delighted to be part of the win, really. It's been a long time, hasn't it? And like I've just said then, there's a lot of emotion through that celebration, and I think it just shows how much I care really about the team and us winning and what have you. So I'm just absolutely delighted.
Pleased with the way they're playing and how the style is and how they're adapting to it. The togetherness is fantastic, so long may it continue.
Rabbit goes in the hole and then around the tree. Now I know what you're thinking. If this little idiot is struggling to even tie his shoelaces, he's absolutely no chance of whatever he's about to do in his PE kit. As you can see, I've got my Jack Grealish socks on. Doesn't quite look like his, maybe if I do that it would look like his card. But what we were thinking was, Potsy's goal at Stoke City looked pretty good, didn't it? How easy stroke difficult would it be to recreate that, especially if you're not very good at playing football? That's where I come in. And also, we need someone like Brad Potts, who's over there. That's all we need. Let's go and do it. We also need Daniel Johnson, who is also over there. Let's go and do it. And here is the main man himself. So we're on the training pitch. We're ready to sort of recreate that. Well, I'm going to try and recreate it. So as far as you're concerned, when it happened, how did you do it?
I think I'd like to say it was one of them where we've been working on it all week, and hours and hours of practice during the training sessions to do it, and it all just came off in the game. But I don't think that's how it works. One of them, just ball came over the top, and my instinct was to hit it how I did, and thankfully it went in.
Right, you're going to talk me through and give me some bits of advice. We've got DJ ready to put in the crosses.
I think close your eyes and just hope for the best.
Right, we'll give it a go. I've spent my entire life doing that in every sort of thing, so let's give it a go.
Go on then.
You stay there. Are we ready, DJ? Where am I? Where do I know?
How many takes we saying?
You need to talk me through it. Talk me through it.
How many until you hit the top corner?
Okay, here we go. Let's find out.
I feel like come back a bit so you're running onto it.
Okay.
Like,
do I have to do any running? Nobody said anything about doing any running.
Then just come onto it, but you've got a bicycle.
Right, okay. Like Hong Kong Phooey like that, yeah? Where are you going to? Edge of the 6 yards? Right, give me 5 minutes to get there. Yeah? No? Oh. There was one. I'll blame the cross for that. We need a ball boy. Right, take 2. That was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah. We'll let you off. That's a warm up.
Yeah, I'll blame the cross. Oh, I'm onto that one. Hi-ya!
Yeah! Wrong corner.
That's all it needed.
Wrong corner.
It's on finish.
Yeah, you
expected that, did you?
Yeah, you meant to run to the fans.
God, sorry, yes!
Hey,
that's it. Let's not spoil it.
Is that enough?
Thanks very much. Great teacher.
No worries.
That's all I can say. Great ball from the expert. Wallop.
Thank you and good night. And if the gaffer's watching, I'll have the contract now, just like Andrew Hughes, who got one purely and simply for the goal that he scored. Let's hear from him right now. Come on, I'm going to be a player here.
I feel really settled here. I love the place. I love the club. I love everything about it. So yeah, it was my main priority to stay at Preston. There was not once where I didn't really ever want to leave. It was just making sure things were right for myself and the club, and I'm grateful that we managed to get it done.
You've changed your role a little bit in the past kind of 12 months as well, and I think you've said quite openly how much you're enjoying that. So is that another kind of reason that you're staying on, because you're settled in that role now?
To be fair, well, it wasn't why I was signed on or anything, but no, it's, I'm really enjoying playing there, and yeah, I'm glad that's the formation the gaffer plays. Yeah, I'm learning that position still, and I feel like I can still get better there.
You mentioned the gaffer there as well. Have you really enjoyed working under him so far?
Yeah, I could speak for the rest of the lads as well. I think everyone's enjoying themselves. It's a breath of fresh air, and yeah, I think everyone's just looking forward to what the future holds here.
So there you go, just hearing from Andrew Hughes. So it is January. It's never the easiest of transfer periods, is it? And Ryan has said he feels like he's already got 25 new players. From your point of view, I suppose that's good to hear?
Well, it's good to hear, because I think the January window is always the most difficult. By definition, players that you're trying to attract are in contract, because all players' contracts run out the end of June. And therefore the summer window is a better one to plan for. We have done pieces of business in January over the last few years. So if there are opportunities, we have taken them in the past, but it isn't the ideal window to be going out trying to strengthen the squad if you've got weaknesses or deficiencies. So the fact that Ryan's come in, as he said to all of us, look, he's new, it is a brand new squad as far as he's concerned. And funnily enough, if I look back when Alex Neil first came in, albeit it was in the summer, we'd done a lot of our transfer business already. We kept broadly the squad. I think when he brought one player in, which was Darnell Fisher at the time, we broadly kept the same squad, and then we ended up 7th in the division that year, so it was his best ever finish. So, I know supporters love to speculate. I know they love to see us go out and try and splash the cash. But the reality is that over the last 2 years, we've had to keep this club going by putting a lot more money in than usual. Certainly the Hemmings family have had to double their normal input because of COVID and COVID-related losses to income streams. And therefore, keeping the squad together, and we've got a very good squad, is probably as important as suddenly speculating on who we might bring in.
Some would argue, possibly me, that the biggest signing of the season was made when you got Ryan Lowe, I suppose. So how did you get him?
Well, look, when we're looking at the squad and then we're looking at managers, every day of the week we have a list which we update weekly on which players might be available, which managers might be available, if and when you have to make a change. So, we understood that there was a lot of frustration out there with our supporters. And we also understood that the performances were indifferent. And certainly we didn't know from one week to the next whether we would expect to get points, not get points or whatever. And when that's happening, you therefore turn to what would happen if. So we had a list. Ryan was number 1 on the list. We weren't sure whether we could attract him, but we do our homework on what it would take to attract. And having done our homework, we moved very quickly, as I'm sure everybody will recognise. Frankie left us on the Monday, and we were lucky enough to get Ryan in on the Tuesday. So that's probably as quick as it gets when somebody's under contract. And I was on record on thanking Plymouth for their assistance, because I'm sure they weren't very happy, but he had a clause in his contract that if we met certain compensation, they had to allow him to talk to us if he wished to talk to us, and he said he did. So that was very smooth. But if anybody thinks we only dreamt it up that day, they're kidding themselves. I mean, my job, our job, is to make sure that all the time we know what's happening in the external market, whatever position we're talking about.
That list's gone back in the drawer for now, though, hasn't it?
Well, we've taken one name off the top of it. because we've got him. So the one thing about this football club, and certainly I've been very lucky over the years in football, that we haven't had to change manager very often versus a lot of clubs. I don't like changing manager regularly because the ripple effect through the rest of the club is one that can cause other ramifications in terms of managers liking players, not liking players. Then you have to, spend money changing them. So we like stability, but to have stability, you have to have the right people. And for good or ill, we've had to make a couple of changes in the last 12 months. And we now believe we've got a manager who hopefully will give us that stability back again.
There are people in positions of yours who are, I'll use the word aloof, because they are, and they don't talk to the likes of me, the fan who comes in through the turnstiles. You not only talk to them, I will use the but you go out of your way to allow that sort of interaction, that engagement. And I know more recently that's become more prominent. So why have you decided, to step that up even further? Because you were quite transparent and interactive beforehand, but at the moment we all feel involved. Does that make sense?
Well, look, there are certain ways of answering that. The first of which is I got into the boardroom in the first place at Leeds as a fan. I sponsored Leeds. I've been a long-time supporter, and I was lucky enough to get on the board. I'd like to think I've never forgotten the fact that I am a fan. I've always been a fan, and what fans are looking to from their football clubs in terms of communication. I think at Cardiff, again, I was very accessible to supporters, and they're very good to me when I go back. Here, for very personal reasons, I didn't have the ability to be as interactive with our supporters because I had issues around my own position and what it could be, what it should be. And therefore, I spent my early years very much advising the owner rather than having the ability to speak as openly as perhaps I would wish to in case people misinterpreted what my role was. As you're aware, I'm now a director of the football club, and sadly, given the owner's passing, on a day-to-day basis, I'm now obviously the focal point and running the club on a day-to-day basis, and therefore I think I have a responsibility to engage as often as we believe it to be appropriate. I know a lot of my colleagues in other football clubs are shocked and stunned by the fact that I do answer text messages when I get them, or emails, or invite fans in to talk to us. But why shouldn't I? I mean, if they've got a question to ask, I think we have a responsibility to try and answer it. They may not like the answer. I might not like the question. It's probably been the most challenging 3 or 4 months in my career over the last period, because supporters made it absolutely clear they weren't happy, and they made it clear to me personally. A lot of people, you said I've been here just over 10 years, there were a lot of people out there in recent weeks who would prefer it if I hadn't been, because they wanted me to go. And they've got every right to say that if that's how they feel. But whenever I'm employed to do a job, I'll do it to the best of my ability. I'll be as open as I can, and people either like it or they won't like it. But we're not separate from our supporters. Football clubs are all about supporters. It's their football club. When I'm long gone, our supporters will still be here. I'm just passing through, and wherever I'm passing through, I have a responsibility to engage and communicate, and that's what we're trying to do.
Couple more before you go, if that's okay. But you mentioned Cardiff City there, and of course that's who we play in the FA Cup this weekend. So let's have a quick preview before we ask Peter a couple of closing questions, and we'll start by hearing the views of the manager, Ryan Lowe.
Well, look, first and foremost, I love the FA Cup. It's one of the best competitions in the country, to be honest with you. I've always loved the FA Cup, and I always want to try and strive to get into, the echelons of the 4th and 5th rounds. And when you're at a championship football club, you want to keep progressing and see where it takes you. Not only that, you want to go and potentially have a day out somewhere in a top Premier League team where you take the fans and your friends and family, and a football club can have a day out. It's very rare you get past the 4th round. So that'll be the aim. We're going to go to Cardiff. We're high on confidence a little bit. We've had 2 good, fantastic wins, scored some good goals. But we know Cardiff's going to be a big threat and pose a big threat as well. But what we'll do over the next few days, we'll analyse what type of players we've got available, and if there's changes to be made to give people opportunities, we'll have a look at it. But if not, we'll just stick to what we've been doing of late, and the team will be the team. But you know, whether there's going to be change or not remains to be seen.
Yeah, it means a lot. I think, you know, when I started my journey and my career, that sort of got me on the map. Obviously, when I was on loan from Chelsea on to Plymouth, and I scored a sort of a decent enough goal when I was about 17. So, you know, the FA Cup is something that I look forward to. Yeah, it was a massive moment. I think, you know, for any young player when you go on loan is to get experience and obviously play real football rather than in reserve. So, yeah, like I said, that just kick-started my career. And you know, it was just so enjoyable to watch it back and obviously be part of that.
So it is Cardiff City in the FA Cup. We can't go as fans, but you can of course listen to the full match commentary on I Follow P&E. Commentators not so good for this one, but bear with me because I've not done one for quite a while. It's me doing the commentary. I don't know what people are going to say, but they'll soon find out. But for you, it's returned to one of your old stomping grounds, and you were part of the time when they moved stadium. So good times in your memory at Cardiff?
I loved being at Cardiff City because it was a challenge that I went down there for 3 months. I was asked by Sam Hammam to tell him what I thought he should do to stop the club going into administration and how they could fund and build a new stadium. Ended up staying for 5 years. We stopped them going into administration. We funded and built a new stadium. Got to the FA Cup final and to a playoff final. So it was a great experience down there. My brief was to do all that and then try and find a buyer, which I did, and sold to Vincent Tan, who still owns the football club. The fans were very welcoming, very appreciative, as they are when I go back now. So very fond memories, but probably the fondest memory was when Tom Clark scored the winner a few years ago when we went back down there. So I'm looking forward to going back down. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. I remember a very difficult memory when I went down with Leeds United when we were top of the Premier League. And I remember those days the final was still being played at the Millennium Stadium, and David O'Leary said, "We're going to start the 3rd round in Cardiff and I hope we'll finish the tournament in Cardiff." And they were in League One, Leeds were top of the Premier League, and we got beat by Cardiff 2-1. So we did start and finish it in Cardiff that year, but not how we meant. So I'd like to think this time we can go down to Cardiff and still be in the round for the draw on Monday night.
I'm thinking final. I might as well go for it. Might as well say let's finish it at Wembley. I can say that.
The strange thing about my time at Cardiff was that the only thing I didn't write into Dave Jones's contract was a bonus for getting to the FA Cup final, because they'd never been there since 1927. And in 2008 we took them to the FA Cup final at Wembley, so you never know.
Let's Lowe got one in there. We're gonna don't put one in. If they take it out now, then that means we can get to the final. That's how it works, I think. You don't have to answer that one either. I'll start. I'll end instead. I have mentioned 10 years, just over 10 years. I think we'd have probably had this chat last month if it wasn't for the fact that we couldn't come in here. But how would you look across your decade at Preston North End? Can you sum it up?
Well, my brief when I first came in was to find a way of getting us back into the Championship. We were in League One. I think there was quite a shock to the fact that we were in League One, because it was only 2 or 3 years before that Preston North End had been in the playoffs. So the brief was to get us into the Championship as soon as possible, and then make sure we at least stayed as a Championship club and were able to compete. And of course we all aspire to get in the Premier League, which Preston North End have never been in the Premier League, so clearly that will be a tremendous achievement. I've enjoyed it. It's been tough, been a lot of challenges. But I think we are closer to having a team that can get into the playoffs and get promoted than people think. And I think with the right ingredients we can do that. And when everybody's asked me in the past what you do to be successful in football management, in the sense of, in the boardroom, I say you go and get the best manager you can afford. And I think we might have just done that.
I'm quite excited. Do you get excited? I probably don't get as excited as me, because I get excited when I've got a biscuit in the bottom of the barrel still. But
so you haven't seen me in the director's box?
Not to bring biscuits into the equation. But
listen, when I say to our supporters I care as much as you, and they don't believe me. When we lose a game and I get grief, It's as if I don't suffer the same grief as they do. The fact is I cannot stand losing football matches, and I get very excited. Certainly when Potsy scored on Monday, I was the first out of the seat in the box, and I will be very, very excited if we can deliver on our ultimate aim, which is at some stage in the not too distant future to take this club to the Premier League.
Thank you. It's always good to chat with you. And obviously, as I say, we can't go to Cardiff as fans, but the next home game against Birmingham City is the start of the half-season ticket. So it feels like I've said this for quite a few weeks now, because it's been quite a few weeks since we've been at Deepdale. They are still on sale. You still can get your half-season tickets starting at the Birmingham City game. We'd love you to see for that one. But the full match commentary will be on iFollow. Kickoff's 2 o'clock. Join us 1:30-ish, there or thereabouts. I'm sure it will be. It'll be 1:30 now.
And hopefully you've been practicing your Welsh language.
Da. Croeso I Cymru. Diolch. I think I got that right, didn't I? Oh, I was supposed to end, of course, but I don't know what "come on you whites" is in Welsh. Could you do?
No, I didn't.
No, neither do I. Come on you whites! That'll do.